I can't believe what happened to me at the doctor's office. As I've gotten older, I've become more aware of taking care of myself and prioritizing health, fitness, and longevity. And so, unlike when I was younger, when I never went to the doctor really ever, I started to go to the doctor on a regular basis and routinely went for an annual checkup. But when I moved from Boca Raton to Boynton Beach, I wanted to find a doctor who was closer so I didn't have to waste a lot of time driving through the nightmarish traffic that exists in Florida, especially now with everybody wanting to live here. Because the traffic is a disaster, and so I don't want to drive any more than I have to. I want to find the best doctor that's close and be efficient with my time. So I did what most people I think would do. I went to my insurance provider. I went and found all of the doctors that are close to where I now live. And then I did some research as to which was the best one and which had the highest reviews and which seemed like the best fit for me. Because I know I'm going to be going to this new doctor at least quarterly for blood work and at least annually for a full physical checkup. And because heart disease and cancer and a long list of other things are unfortunately genetic gifts handed down to me from my family, at least I've got the blessing of knowing what they are. And so I know that I've got to be proactive and I need to stay on top of my health because I've got 2 kids and I want to see them grow up. I want to experience life with them as they get older. I want to walk them down the aisle if they choose to get married. I want to be at their graduations. I want to be at whatever events they participate in. I want to be here for a long time and I want to be optimal in everything that I do. I want to play with them as much as I possibly can up until they won't allow me. And at some point, I know for certain I'm going to go from being the coolest dad on planet Earth to them to a social pariah that is not wanted anywhere. And I probably have less time than I think I do, but I want to max out the time that I have as much as possible. And taking good care of myself and making sure I'm in good shape is the ante. I've got to stay healthy. And so I was highly motivated to ensure I found the best doctor that I could. And I thought I did. So I booked the appointment and I was looking forward to and actually excited to meet this new doctor who was highly reviewed and highly rated and all the things that I wanted, or at least that I thought I wanted when I went through my mental checklist. Now, pro tip, if you're ever going to a doctor and you don't like waiting in line, what I've learned over time is that you always want to get the first appointment of the day, because once the day starts, the odds of them making it on time to the subsequent appointments are basically zero. So I've learned, get the first appointment of the day, or chances are you're going to be waiting in that waiting room for an hour, 2, 3, 4, who knows, but you're at the mercy of their schedule. And these doctors are getting paid by the volume of people they see in a day. They are going to max out the ability to see as many patients as they can because they ring the register every time they do. But unfortunately, I was not able to get the first appointment of the day. I got something later in the afternoon, but I didn't care because I was excited and wanted to meet this new doctor and get started on my quest for longevity. And full disclosure, I'm not necessarily always in the best mood, and I'm prone to being cranky and irritated with other things going on in my life. But if I'm being 100% honest, the thing that I hate more than anything else is having my time wasted. I hate waiting in line. And I know I can be extremely irritated or annoyed when my time is wasted. And I could probably go into a whole long list of all the things I hate waiting on, like traffic, like being in line. But I've also learned that if I know I'm going to be waiting in line or waiting for something, best to have a book or a podcast or something, because I refuse to waste my time ever. But I was truly excited to get this process started, and I was looking forward to meeting the doctor. And if you want to hear more about one of my other medical stories, then please click the link up above and you can check it out. But to be clear, the story that I'm sharing in the link above happened way after the story that I'm sharing right now. But you must question everything. And when I walked into this doctor's office, which was very nice and very pleasant, I was surprised to see there wasn't a massive filled waiting room, and I didn't suspect I would be waiting that long. And I was right. I walked in, I signed in, and very quickly they called my name to come up and fill out their inpatient questionnaire. And because I was a new patient, I knew that I would have to fill out some paperwork, and I knew they were going to ask lots of questions so they could get to know me, or at least get to know my medical history as quickly as they possibly could. So I gladly took the questionnaire and I went back to my seat and I started doing the paperwork. And the questions were very predictable at first. My name, my address, my birth date. But then I was totally stumped by the next question. Or I should say, questions. But the question was, am I male or female? Which honestly is a predictable question, and I wasn't really all that surprised by that one. But I was blown away by the next one, which is, what was my sex at birth? This happened way before the massive uptick in transgenderism and all the things around it. It was way before it became cool to be trans. And no, I don't think that's cool, but to each his own. As long as you're not pushing it on my kids or on kids, I don't really care what you do. But I've got a major problem if my doctor can't just look at me and know what my sex is and know what my sex was at birth. And so I refuse to answer the question because it's stupid. And I'm not interested in playing this stupid game. And yes, I was obviously slightly annoyed, but I was still in good spirits and still wanting to meet the doctor and get started. But there's no way I was answering these questions. So I walked back up to the attendant, or perhaps I should say the receptionist, who I know isn't a doctor, but also wasn't blind. And I challenged her a little bit, and I asked her some questions about this intake questionnaire. And I very nicely asked her if she could see okay. And she said yes. And then I pointed to those two questions and I asked her, can you tell what gender I am? And she said yes. And then I asked her, could she tell what sex I was when I was born? And she was stumped. And no, I don't think she was actually stumped because I think it's obvious what I was when I was born, but she couldn't answer the question, or she refused to answer the question. And so I did what I often do in situations like this. I didn't say anything. I simply waited for her answer. And after 2 minutes of this uncomfortable stare down, it became clear to me that she did not know what to do or say next. And so I said to her, if you don't know what I was when I was born, or you can't answer the question for me, then I do not want to be a patient of this practice. And so I took her paperwork, I crumpled it up, and I threw it out, wished her well, and left. But if my doctor can't tell what sex I am now or what sex I was at birth, they are not the right doctor for me. And if medical professionals and the world is really this dumb, I can't wait for Elon Musk to colonize Mars because I'd rather live there.